All right, guys, welcome back to another week of SC and Scrappy. Lucas, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Finally kind of revving up for the folk style season, getting everything ready school wise, even some fat and scrappy stuff. And obviously, we're at a locking hands season, and now it's back to headgears and ankle bands.
Yeah, headgears and ankle bands is right. And, for a
Before anyone says
wrestler,
anything, I'm copywriting that. It's already trademarked. Headgears and ankle bands is already trademarked. Don't even think about it.
for a wrestler it's been a long time since I wrestled, but it's been a much shorter time since you have. Is that a hard transition to make or not really?
Not particularly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of those things where so if you're newer, I could see it maybe being oh wait, crap, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But for the guys that have been doing it for a long, long time, that kind of have the mental, like muscle memory already, it's kind of more just it's more remembering it than anything. Like, oh, okay,
Well,
yeah, I gotta remember. Okay, I could play with the edge a little bit more. I just can't lock my hands. But it's
right. Well, and your
you know,
strategy changes a little bit. Your
yeah, for
strategy
sure,
changes,
for
definitely.
sure.
All right. So this week, obviously we had planned to, and we were going to talk about North Dakota State and our visit up there, but we have to lead with a new world champion, U17 world champion, and Piper Fowler. And we haven't had a chance to talk to her yet. You're going to get a chance hopefully later this week.
Yeah,
I
the
did
plan is
capture
Thursday.
I did capture a couple of interviews with her from USA Wrestling and some of her matches and that sort of thing. We'll see that in a few minutes. But man, how awesome is it to one, go and represent your country? Piper Fowler did that. May Prado did that for USA at U17s. But then to run through it and take a title. I mean, that's unbelievable.
It's very funny, and I'm going to shout out my mother here. And the reason is very funny. So, for those of you who don't know, Coach Josh Boskin at Cleveland, quick shout out Boskin, the whole crew at Cleveland, shout out. I wrestled with them on high for my older gentlemen and coaches and wrestlers. You might remember Higher Calling Wrestling Club.
Mm-hmm.
That was the team out of Tennessee that I wrestled on a couple of times at like Columbus Day duels and like maybe Tyrant, like one of those. I forget the other one. To make a long story short, Piper was on that team, and she was wrestling the boys, so she had a little bit of a tough weekend. But my mother remember vividly saying she's going to turn out to be a stud one day. And I'll admit, I was a little bit at the time like, we'll see, because she was younger. We were all like 10. And sure enough, my mother hangs her hat on that, because anytime anybody posts anything about Piper Fowler, the first thing I get told by my mother is, I told you about that Piper. She sends me Piper's clips on Instagram to prove her point. Piper is the absolute super stud, and my mother called it. But I want a quick shout out to my mother because we love Mom Dukes. But I mean, bro, it's like you said, not only did she go on to just represent her country, she went on to win the sucker and wrestled really, really well the entire tournament.
It's amazing. I've like you said, and actually you brought it up in your story. I've been around watching Piper or May or all these different wrestlers. And watching you guys evolve and get better and better, learn the strategy, know how to kind of move kids into a particular position to be able to set up your double leg, which Piper did. She built up, she got in on a shot and then kind of got broken down a little bit, but had to build back up, and she finished that double leg. And
So
I'll tell you what,
where
it's just, it's pretty cool to see the evolution,
that's where I think Boskin comes into place. He's so good, man, at finding what a kid doesn't do well and honing in on it at practice. Like, no, this is like Piper. For me, when we were watching her develop, I feel like a lot of things that she had, she had her double leg, but she couldn't attack that other side of the body. Now she finally has an ability to attack to both sides. She can flash to either side. You have to respect it, and once you respect it, that opens up her real good attack, which is her double. I mean, we saw it in the final, in the sems. She's super good at attacking to both sides of the body and using it to set up her double, which ran through everybody this weekend. So I mean, she ticks all the boxes of a future superstar in college. She ticks all the boxes.
It was a hard match. I knew what I needed to do going into it. I knew what positions I needed to stay out of. That girl was really tough, and it was a very good match. It's always been a dream of mine, and I always knew that I could accomplish the dream. Just hard work. You have to have the confidence in yourself to be able to win big tournaments. So, I mean, I've always looked up to those women, especially Adeline Gray. She's been my idol since I've been little, and it's just incredible to see the things that they do. They're the start of U.S. women's wrestling, and I'm just here to continue what they started. So. Oh man, there's a lot of people here supporting me, not just here, but also in the U.S., and not only the U.S., but in Tennessee, where I'm from. So many people watching, so many people supporting. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it'll be a celebration.
Tennessee, and it's pretty cool that State Tennessee has a world champion amongst their
that's gotta be
their mix.
That's gotta be special. I mean, in your clique, in your little fraternity, you got a world champion, and one that is young and had so much. The ceiling for her, to me, is you can't even measure it. Like I think her ceiling is so high.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so let's transition to North Dakota State. Coach Obe Blanc, Amonte Mills, Tyler Sequoy. There are a few individuals up in that neck of the woods. Sequoy's obviously back in Georgia. He's just committed there. He hasn't signed yet. But Mills is there. He has signed. And Coach Blanc and both, I think it was Amonte actually, who took us on a little bit of a tour around the facility. Yeah. And before we get to that, what was your kind of takeaway of the thing? Yeah.
Real quick, before anybody that's a hater wants to say something, we followed all NCAA compliance and eligibility rules with talking, and want to make sure that gets said before anybody tries to say, no, we asked Obe to ask his compliance officers before we did anything, so everything is up to code and up to standard. Wanted to make that clear before anyone says anything.
Absolutely. So what was the one thing that stood out to you as it related to just walking in the building, meeting Hayden Hidley, meeting
I was going to say, like Obe bringing in a guy like Hayden Hidley, and it seems like he's trying to build an actual culture up there, which I feel like whenever a coach comes in, it's real easy to say, oh, we're trying to change the culture, right? I feel like that's kind of the, whether it's BPC or it's North Dakota State, the first thing you're going to say when a new coach comes in is we're going to change the culture. But in the grand scheme of things, it really does actually seem like he's trying to build a winning culture there. You're bringing a guy like Hayden Hidley, who's one of the best guys in the past decade plus of college wrestling, who knows the Division I level, knows the Division I tournament. In my opinion, nuts and bolts got screwed against Jason Nolf in the semifinals. I don't care what nobody tells me. But a guy like Hayden is invaluable to bring in, especially with, surprisingly enough, the fact that North Dakota State seemingly has a recruiting pipeline out of the Southeast and wants to recruit the Southeast, which, being that it's North Dakota State, is a little odd to say out loud, but when you look at, and most recently, bringing in out of Clarksville. Why am I losing my mind?
Aiden Burnett, yeah.
Aiden Burnett, thank you. Thank you. But bringing in another Southeast hammer, it just seems to me that the Obe is trying to build something for a long-term move, and he's trying to build something of a winning program up in Fargo. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, no doubt. So this is our kind of conversation with Monty Mills, and we got to talk to Tyler Sequoia, obviously talked to Coach Blanc, and just got to see the entire facility.
He's the one that knocked off and eliminated Matt McDonough out of the tournament. I remember. Coach
Blanc, first, I haven't actually got a chance to say congratulations to you on taking the job here.
Thank you.
It's been a path. Been watching you from Florida, Oklahoma State, so on, NC State, so on and so forth, and now we're in Fargo, North Dakota.
Yeah.
Tell me what it is about Fargo that makes it special.
I'd say the community. It's a great community. My family loves it here. The people care about each other, right? The people care about each other, and it's salt of the earth kind of people, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we enjoy about the community. They care about this institution, right? Care about our student athlete, and when you go around town or you go around the campus facilities, you kind of see that, and we take care of each other.
Very cool. Yeah. So NDSU, you came up here to assist Coach Kish. He obviously takes the job and has moved on, and I was such an advocate of you taking the position and everything else. They moved really quick, at least from the outsider's perspective, on putting you into place and that sort of thing. Did you anticipate that the process will be that quick? Kind of what were you thinking?
Just not really sure. But for me, I always know I wanted to put myself in a position to be a head coach, and partly coming out to NDSU and seeing all the amenities and resources that are here, and the opportunity to grow, and so that was a big thing that made me want to come to Fargo, and I think over these past 4 years we've done a good job continuing to grow and bringing a bit of an impact to the program, and I think our administration were able to see that and believed in the vision that I have for the program, and I think they have a lot of confidence in me. I have a lot of confidence in myself to do the job, and I think they can see that. And so just together, I think we have a shared vision of where we want NDSU to go. And, obviously other people reached out and inquired about the position, but I think just our administration really believe, and we believe in the same thing.
And where you're headed?
Yeah, we're excited to get to work on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm always interested in is we're in Fargo, and kids have been to Fargo, a lot, but obviously we're here for this week. But what is this kind of sales pitch? You lived in Florida. You're from Florida. You're from the Southeast.
Yeah.
What is the sales pitch to a kid who's from the Southeast? Why come to Fargo? Why come to NDSU?
Yeah. I really, it's about the people. It's about the people. It's about the coaches. For example, the coaching staff, and the philosophy and the things we're building. Right. We want to build great men. Right. Individuals that are going to go on and be leaders in their communities. Good husband and fathers, and just people that add value to their communities overall. And I really believe we have the people in place to help kids do that, to develop beyond just the doubles and singles, right?
Yeah.
We're very strong academically. Have you seen our team hasn't finished below top 10 in the past 4 years, right? Very strong student athletes in terms of our academics and our athletics. And so that's something that's important to me, to where when my guys leave here, like, hey, they're going to leave here ready to be employed in whatever field that they want to be in, and they leave this place, research level 1 institution with great support to put them in position to have a lot of success well beyond their athletic clock is over.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing is there's a lot of experience on our coaching staff already, even though we still got to hire 2 more coaches, but there's a lot of experience and a lot of competence, right?
Yeah.
Very competent individual who are going to be creative in our approach to helping our students achieve success. Yeah.
Well, and I wrote on Twitter like a home run hire with Hayden Hidley, and that sort of thing. And I mean, you obviously have that connection to him at NC State and everything else. And he just seems, just having a conversation with him, he just seems super excited about the upcoming season and being involved with the program.
Yeah.
And how, like, what was the conversation of, like, you just called him up and like, hey, this is the thing. We need to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. We met at the same time, that he was looking to continue into coaching, and this whole thing kind of happened, and it really kind of was a perfect opportunity coming together. And so I'm super excited about Hayden, and I mean,
yeah,
he's A+. He's A+.
Well,
he works hard, and he's smart, and has a lot of confidence in his abilities to do the job, and really open to learning. And he wants to knock it out the park. His ultimate goal is to be a head coach one day as well, and so I love that. And so I love an individual coming in willing to do whatever it takes to help this program and its student athletes grow and go through the mud to get to the top of the hill, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's not going to be easy every day, but people that can see into the future and willing to put the work in. And I think those are the people that are successful in life and in wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And so he's definitely one of those guys.
Awesome, Coach. Well, I want to say thank you for letting us come in and visit and get an interview. There's a lineage of coaches who wrestled in Florida who are now D1 coaches. I'm anxious to see kind of, you step into that role, and I want to wish you the best of luck with this coming season.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, obviously, we're recruiting all over, Midwest, Northeast, South, West Coast, everywhere. And for us we're always looking for the right fit. We're always looking for the guys that fit, not just people that can wrestle, but people that fit really well into our culture. And so the more exposure for this great institution, this program, what we're trying to build, the better. And I'm very proud as a guy from the South that just hungry to grow and build and show these kids that, hey, it doesn't matter where you come from. It's all about the vision and the work ethic.
Coach, want to wish you best of luck, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Alright guys, Luke Silva here, fan Scrappy brand / SC Wrestle. This is going to go on here with Monty Mills out of Mill Creek High School, funnily enough. We're here at NDSU, so I want to talk to you a little bit about, first off, so from Florida, wrestled in Georgia, North Dakota. What was the big kind of things that led you to go here and end up in Fargo for your college education?
I mean, first it was Obe. When I first talked to Obe, I really like Obe a lot.
Shout out Coach Blanc.
And then when I came here on a visit, it was just like the team. My host was Fernando Berto, my 133-pounder. He just took me around and just felt like family. So I just liked it from there. Then I knew I was going to come here as soon as I went on the visit the first day.
So that's good, obviously. So you had wrestled at Fargo before. Did that at all help being here before, some familiarity of being here at the event? And then, like you said, you took an official visit and it kind of felt like
I mean a little bit. Like coming to Fargo and then seeing like the school right across the street, like you always got a good tournament to go to on the summer. So yeah, that definitely helped for sure.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to ask you is this: what would you say to a kid from the Southeast who Blanc might reach out to, Hayden Hyde, which obviously is an assistant coach? That's a really major get. What would you say to them if they're like, I want to go to North Dakota, I want to be all the way up there? What would be your kind of sales pitch if you had to help sell someone? Maybe one of the multiple Mills brothers as well.
I mean, me, I would say it's better to be further for me at least, because like you can like spread out and like you ain't got to be so dependent. Like you can just go right back home. You up here, you can't just go back home like that quick. It's 23 hours away to drive, so you stuck out here to get it on your own. That's how I want it to be. Is either sink or swim. I'm not sinking though. I'm a swim for sure. But,
Shark.
yeah,
Good
sure.
stuff, man. All right, peace. All right, guys. Lucas Silva here, Fat and Scrappy and SCWrestling.com. We're here now with the second Georgia boy coming up here to NDSU, Tyler Sequoia. So Tyler, let me ask you this for a second. You're from Columbus, Georgia. You go to Columbus High School, shout out Blue Devils. Fargo, North Dakota is where you want to go to school.
Oh yeah.
So kind of talk us through that process and your recruiting process as a whole. What ended up landing you here in Fargo?
I love the guys on the team. Shout out Gavin Drexler, who's my guy over here when I went on the official. I love the coaches, Obi and Hayden. Great people to have around your room. I've been in here for practice, and it's great. Every day we're scrapping hard.
I was going to say, a guy like Hayden Hidley for you has got to be almost invaluable. 4-time NCAA All-American, and the stud he is, that's got to be a super big draw to you. But you talk about practicing, you just got another year of high school. So kind of talk about how has it been to get to work out with the guys here, and how do you feel that's helped your development as you look toward your senior year of high school?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, I can see a clear difference whenever I wrestle people out here. And I'm looking forward to trying to learn from them and get better.
Okay. Last question. I'm going to ask Mills the same thing in a minute. You're from the Southeast. Let's kind of talk about, if you were talking to a kid from the Southeast, maybe someone watching this who says, I don't want to go all the way up to Fargo, North Dakota. What might be your sales pitch to them to at least bring them to look at the Bison?
Honestly, I would just say, come out here during the summer, first of all, if you're from the South. But come up, see how everybody is here. We're all family. We're all take each other up, don't bring each other down, and get in here and we get it done.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Yep. Peace. Hey, Jason, snap a pic when you're done with that.
All right. So that's Coach. That's North Dakota State. And for those people, I think sometimes in the Southeast we don't realize. I mean, obviously, you hear Penn State, you hear Iowa, you hear of all these different programs, but North Dakota State, South Dakota State, there are smaller programs that are very competitive. North Dakota State finished top 20 in the nation. We here kind of, I think, have a tendency to kind of assign, Georgia or Florida or Alabama or Tennessee, and we think of the SEC schools, and we never hear of North Dakota State because they're not very big in Division I football. But they are actually national champs or something.
Okay, so that's where you have Division I FBS and Division I FCS. It's kind of like Division 1A and Division 1B. North Dakota State is arguably the best Division 1B program in the history of college football. I want to say 11 titles over the past 14, 15 years. Someone that's actually a college football head is going to refute me and tell me I'm wrong, but it's somewhere in that range. I remember they won like 6 or 7 in a row. Guys like Carson Wentz, Trey Lance went through that program. So we don't hear a lot about them because they are Division I FCS, excuse me. They're the second division.
Yeah, but they have a fantastic wrestling program, and there are lots of wrestling programs around the country who they may not have a great D1 football program, but they are a very good wrestling program.
Can I yell at people about something? Speaking of which, we're talking about conferences in Division I. There is no rule in the Big Ten that says if you're a Big Ten school, you have to have wrestling. I love wrestling as much as any human on the planet. Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC will not have wrestling. The SEC is not going to have wrestling for a long time, if ever.
Yeah.
Stop. It's just not. Like,
we hope. Like, we want it to happen.
But no, the people I don't like are the ones that are reposting the Big Ten map saying, there's a rule that says they have to have wrestling. No, they don't. Stop lying. You're stupid. Like, I'm sorry. There isn't. I wish there was, because I'm telling you, Oregon wrestling, are you kidding me? The merchandise, ladies and gentlemen. The merchandise. But I just feel like I had to say that real quick. But
it's all good.
I think as a whole, if you're a wrestler or a wrestling fan in the Southeast, like you said, there is typically you either go to the big elite, blue chip schools, or you go to your local NAIA D2, D3, where a lot of people don't. I mean, in the Southeast, you have a load of schools in the Carolinas, right?
Yep.
You got UT Chattanooga, but also, you got Bellarmine out of Kentucky, Little Rock, which is Arkansas. Technically not in our bubble, but still rather close by.
Right.
Is it Humboldt in Texas? I know there's one team that's trying to raise money. So it's not Stephen F. Austin. Someone will tell us down below. Like there is a school in Texas that's trying to get a program. There is a lot of real good Division I opportunities. I was blessed to actually have the last regime at NDSU recruit me pretty heavily out of high school. So there are a lot of opportunities to go Division I level that may not be those blue chip schools for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to look beyond and look at the entire landscape. Speaking of which, the fall tournaments, and this is where we're going to end it, they play a huge role in this. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, winning a Florida State title, winning a Georgia State title,
right,
winning whatever, those are important. Okay. It's nice to have it. But if you're talking about moving to the next level, you get noticed by big tournaments. And, Cliff Retwell actually made a post on Twitter just recently that said something to the effect of, man, can you imagine if we had a list of alumni of Elite Eight duels and how they did at the World Championships? And
it's kind of nuts.
It is nuts. And that is a perfect
Lockett,
right, who just won a world title.
Ignacio Villasenor, who's also there.
Right.
Paul Kenny was also there. Wait, Paul Kenny was on a Dynasty, I think,
he
right?
Was, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of nuts to think about.
Well, and as we head into the U20 World Championships, which is coming up this week, you got Maddie Singleton, who's wrestling. You got Sawyer Bartelt, who wrestled last in the last Elite Eight. And then, obviously, we don't have the girls yet, but Amani Jones, shout out to Amani. We're going to wish her the best of luck as they head to Jordan, all three of them. But coming back
former teammate of mine, shout out Amani. All love to the Jones family. Shout out Reese, too. He's doing good stuff at life. Shout out to Reese.
But coming back to that, getting on an Elite Eight roster and competing against the very best in such a small environment. I mean, Fargo is huge, but there are 30 mats. When you go to Elite Eight, they're 5.
The big thing about Elite Eight to me that I had the same conversation with Mike Mal before the last Elite Eight. Elite Eight, there is nowhere to hide. Like there are no cupcakes. Like, in my opinion, it's the densest capacity of talent in the country. Because when you go to Super 32, you go to Fargo, you go to Grappler. Let's say it in the most politically correct way possible. There are guys who are not all the way there yet at the elite level that are at that event because they're local, their family has money, whatever. Their friends are going, they want to go try it, whatever. That's a bad thing. I love those kids. The guys that are there that are willing to test themselves when they know they may not be at that level yet. Now, that was me for a lot of years. So if you're in the trenches,
a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say if you're in the trenches, you're my brother. I'm with you. But at Elite Eight, there is nowhere to hide. 5 mats, and in each match that's going on, it's a hitter versus a hitter. It's killers the entire way. And it's so fun to watch as a spectator, as an analyst, but it's the opportunity for dream matchups. I remember the first year, you had Cody Chittum against Kale Valencia. Where else would you see Cody Chittum bump to go get that match?
Yeah.
Like that. That's just an example, ladies and gentlemen, of some Wask and Singleton from a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on. Jax Forrest and Luke Stanich. Last year you had Bassett and Lilladell. Luke Lilladell, yeah.
Yeah, 1 versus 2. So yeah. So, one of the things Elite Eight is a single event, happens in the middle of September. The Super 32, which we mentioned, and obviously is probably the creme de la creme of individual tournaments, because
I would agree.
Elite Eight is the duels. It happens in late October, and I mean, I love the belt and I love the Super 32 and the wrestling that occurs. But one of the things that for me is great about Super 32 is all of the early entry tournaments heading to Super 32. You've got the one here in Georgia at Ola High School on Labor Day weekend. You got the one down in Kissimmee for Florida. You've got the There's one up in North Carolina at Morehead High School. And that's an opportunity. You see some really good wrestlers come out and compete, and that should give you a pretty good idea. If you could compete at that level and take first, second, or third, then yeah, book your ticket and go to North Carolina. If you can't, I think you might want to wonder about whether you spend the money to go to North Carolina.
I can only use Georgia's event as an example because that's the only one I went to. But bro, in the years I went, you would have brackets where it would be me, Gavin Kane, Drew Eller, and Camden Monroe, and you throw in a guy like a Blaine Berge and other Avery Krittner, if you're a Georgia guy, Thomas Tardier. Like, these brackets at these Super 32 qualifier events are nasty. And they could be, I'm going to say this, and I don't care if nobody tells me, the finals of a lot of these Super 32 qualifiers could be Super 32 placement matches at the actual tournament.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them could be.
Well, I think I remember last year Cooper Haas from Osceola wrestled, and he beat a kid in the finals in the Florida Super 32 qualifier. And Haas ended up third or fourth at Super 32, third. And the kid he lost, or the kid he beat, I think was a blood rounder. So yeah, I mean that's the level of competition. And then, I think we should talk. Obviously, you've got Grappler Fall Classic and Journeyman that are outside of the Southeast. Yeah. I mean, if people have the means and the ability to go and visit those tournaments, they're obviously really, good tournaments.
Journeyman doesn't get a lot of coverage.
It doesn't get a lot of coverage.
But it really is a good tournament. It's because it's kind of the middle of nowhere, and Journeyman is hell bent on doing things their way.
They are.
And I love it because, listen, me of all people, how can I talk about someone not conforming and try to diss them, right? So I'm not saying a bad thing, but they are hell-bent on doing it their way, which maybe you could argue might hinder them to an extent. But at the end of the day, it is a great event with a lot of really... And I love the Hammer. I'm mad I never got to go wrestle up there.
Yeah, so you got the Hammer, you got the belt at Super 32, you got the robes at Elite 8. This is the season for kind of some really cool, trophies that you can win.
I'm gonna make a bold claim. Super 32 needs to redesign their belt. And before I get the tomatoes thrown at me, I love belts. I always think giving out championship belts is a cool idea. I want to eventually do that for my tournament, give out championship belts. It's cool. But we need a rebrand. It looks straight out of the mid-90s. Just a rebrand. Just redesign that front plate. That's all I'm asking. Bro, throw the Super 32 logo on the front of it. Just a little redesign, and I'll shut up. But I'm going to shut up now anyways, because I'm getting the look from Jason. I'm getting the look. So I'm just going to shut up, because obviously I'm wrong, but whatever.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
Just a little redesign.
I hadn't even thought about it. But, I mean, it's all good. Back even when I coached, there was no no belt, there was no Super 32, all of that. So anyway, and then let's end with a local tournament that here in the Southeast that I love Coach Carr. He always puts on a good event. He always brings in some really good kids from all over the place. It's Coach Carr's Duels. We'll see some local flavor here in the middle of Georgia. It happens to happen the fall on the same weekend as the Florida Super 32 early entry tournament, which is a shame, but still an opportunity. There are opportunities to get out and compete this fall.
Completely agree. I mean, I'm taking a girls team to Cars Cat 5. I mean, it's a great event, and on the boys' side and the girls' side, I feel like a lot of girls' tournaments don't get a lot of, rep because a lot of them can only have 5, 6, maybe 7 teams. But when you look at the rosters and the talent on those teams, Riot last year were the winners. Their team was nasty up and down. You got Level Up, who's going to be there. Myself, Lady Reapers. There's a lot of really, really good teams. So, for me, it's another exciting opportunity to go get good competition. And shout out to War Promotions, man. The guys that are running the event, Micah and them out of South Carolina. They do an awesome job. I haven't been to a War event where there's been too many issues. I've always been rather impressed by their work at running events. So, like you said, it's a really exciting opportunity to go get some real good competition.
Yeah, and one thing I would shout out to, or I would say to all the coaches, like, I'll retweet, I'll share on Instagram story, I'll share, on Facebook and all that jazz. Take a team picture, we'll share it out, share it out with everyone. Tag Lucas, tag, SE Wrestle. Let us know. I think that the more we do things like that and kind of share I think it's good for the sport. It promotes the sport.
Completely agree. I completely agree. It's good for the sport.
All right. So that is this week's show. Any last words?
I mean, listen, just if you are wrestling these fall events, listen, I know that we talked about winning and how important these events are, but the biggest thing, if you want to win in February, if you want to make the state meet, like let's say you are a kid that wants to get better, but you may not be a state champion yet, wrestling at these fall events that you can go to, man, I don't care if you're getting your tail kicked. That's what you need to do. You need to go see where you stack up against the elite. That's the only way you're going to grow as an athlete. So that's my only big thing is, listen, I don't care how good you are. Go wrestle in the fall. Listen, if you're a Georgia boy, you have no excuse to not be at Ola High School on whatever weekend it is. I'm sorry, I don't know the date off the top of my head. But you got
September
no excuse.
2nd, yeah.
If you're in Florida, you got no excuse to not be at Osceola High School. I'm sorry. Like, it's go get it. Go compete and go shake it up with some of the best guys in your region.
I couldn't have said it better. All right, man. We'll see you next week. Hopefully we get that interview with Piper Fowler and Coach Boskin. And we'll delve maybe a little into the new big boards. Does that sound good?
Oh, yeah.
All right, man.
Works for me.
See ya. Bye.
Peace.